What's going on, guys? So it is dark outside, but it is bright in the shop. We are going to be installing this Access bed truck mat. Now this thing is made out of 1/2 inch thick marine carpet. It does not absorb water. It does not hold on to water. It might hold on to it just for a few minutes if it gets wet, or maybe a few hours. So you definitely want to be aware of that if you're going to be putting something like a box or something that's made out of paper, or something that could just get damaged if it sits on a surface that's wet for a while. But just like a bed rug and a lot of the other products that are out there, this is designed to give you some cushion in the bed of your truck. Now, the manly men who watch the channel are like, you know what, if you can't kneel down on some bed liner for, you know, a couple of hours while you're working in the bed of your truck, you don't need a truck. And if that's you, all the power to you. But if you're like me and occasionally you need to crawl around the bed of your truck and you don't want your knees getting destroyed in the process, you don't want to be tearing up your jeans doing it, something like this can help out tremendously. And obviously it helps out a lot of folks because a lot of folks buy these products. That said, my channel sponsor etrailer.com sent me this. Again, this is an Access bed truck mat. Again, marine grade carpet. This is a really cool product. I've used one before and I actually still have it right there and right there. Those are the remnants of when I pulled it out of the F450 I used to have, the 2017 model. I replaced it with a bed rug because I wanted to see if there was a huge difference in terms of, I guess, just function. And there really isn't, other than the fact that the bed rug is a little thicker and it contours to the ribs of the bed a little better. Especially in those areas it can be a little thicker. This one, you can see, is completely flat on the side that will lay in the bed, and because of that, over time you might be able to see indentions in this. It's not going to perfectly flatten out the bed when there's a load inside. That said, we're going to get this installed, and of course it's got to be done in a little bit more difficult way than most, simply because we have the Gen Y offset goose ball in the back of the truck, as well as the pucks that we use to secure chains whenever we hook up to the fifth wheel or our gooseneck trailers. And we're going to have to cut around those. So that's why they're still in here. You can probably see, if I zoom in, there's very little space underneath that mount, or the ball right there between the bed. And the problem I had with removing it from the 2017 was the fact that that created a ton of pressure, and it was very difficult to get it out of that truck because of the bed rug sitting underneath it. So I'm going to cut around that, and it's going to be a smaller hole than I put in the last one, simply because I'm not going around a big B&W companion hitch this time. I'm simply going around a ball connection. Now, if I only had the goose ball in the center and I didn't have that big piece right there, it would be several smaller holes instead of one large hole that's kind of shaped like a wing. That said, we got to get everything out of the bed of the truck before we can do this so it lays down properly. But we'll come back and I'll show you what we did whenever we're complete. Okay, so I'm back. In all honesty, I'm doing this kind of the lazy man's way. I'm trying not to remove everything because the air compressor up there is actually anchoring it down a little bit. So I have the back lined up where it should go, and they give you a bunch of little fasteners right here that have 3M adhesive on the back that you can use to secure it to the bed of the truck. These never really lasted. Actually, I take that back. They did last. They didn't become detached, at least not all of them did, but these would pop off of them. So because I have a bed cover, because I'm always going to have a weight in the bed of my truck, I may put a few of them on, maybe just the 3 on the back. I don't anticipate needing to put any of the other ones on to hold this in place. But in your truck, if you don't have a bed cover, you will very likely need to put something like this in the bed of your truck using the snap fasteners and some means to secure it to the bed, so in case you're driving down the road, the wind doesn't get underneath it and throw it out on the street. Never seen it happen, but that's probably because people are following the directions. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of work my way up. I'm going to feel for where my puck is on each side, and I'm going to cut small slits on the top. So that's going to give me kind of a roundabout area where the holes are going to be. When I get to the big Gen Y product here, I may leave the majority of it covered up. Let me lift this up so you can see what I'm talking about. So you may be able to see it underneath there. I may leave the majority of it covered up because it acts as kind of a block whenever I'm trying to get things into the bed. And by covering it up, it'll soften that transition and make things a little easier to get into the bed of the truck when I'm sliding them up. So I'm gonna see how that works out for me. Okay, so check it out. We have it in the bed of the truck. It went in pretty dang easy. I basically rolled it out from this side to that side. The air compressor is chained in, so I had to kind of lift it out of the way, put it underneath. I took all that stuff out, put it on the toolbox while I laid it flat. I'm not going to use any of the button retainers on that side of it because I'll have stuff there to keep it down. But on this side, I have these three, so I am going to secure it down with those retainers. In addition to the 3M adhesive that's on here, and I don't know if it comes with any adhesion promoter. Doesn't really need to because I have 3M adhesion promoter. This stuff is wicked awesome. It does a great job of enhancing any type of adhesive that you're going to be using, and it just really makes for a great bond. Again, the weakest link here is going to be the fact that these may want to just simply unsnap from these connections once they're down. They give you these additional ones down here if you want to screw them into the bed of your vehicle. I don't plan on doing that. I don't think I need to do that. With this, plus these little adhesive button clips, I think that should be fine. So we're going to go ahead and put those down, secure it to the bed of the truck, and we'll wrap up with this project. Okay, so my one gripe about this product has kind of remained the same. The button snaps don't really work well. Even if you press them down, this one's holding okay. This one came right up because it's right in between two of the grooves on the bed. This one may be holding. Nope, that one's not holding. It came loose pretty dang quick. Even with the adhesive promoter, the adhesion promoter, they still don't really want to stick real well. You know, the better idea here is what the folks over at Bedrug do, and that's to put strips of really tough Velcro that's sewed into the bottom of their rug, and then the long strips of Velcro that you put on your rails align with the taller portion of those rails, so it has the most compression capability to keep them stuck together. And if you've had a bed rug, you realize that once it's in, it's actually pretty hard to pull the thing out because that Velcro works so dang well. That said, it's staying in there right now. I don't think I'm gonna have any major issues unless, you know, I go down the road with the bed cover off and nothing in the bed of the truck. I'm probably going to work on doing something different to secure it down, but at the moment, again, I don't think I'm going to have any major issues with it the way it is. I have it weighted down up there. You can see how I made the cutouts here kind of perfectly around the puck system and around the Gen Y offset gooseball right there. But overall, it turned out really good, and just the fact that you can crawl around in the bed of your truck without this stuff right here eating into your knees. And again, if you think anybody who complains about that is a wuss, you probably don't actually do it, and you just claim that you crawl around on this stuff and have no problems. Unless you're wearing knee pads, or I guess if you don't care about shredding up your jeans. That said, what do you guys think? Very cool upgrade, relatively inexpensive. If you don't have a bed liner, it definitely will add some protection to the bed of your vehicle. You don't really have to worry about it holding water for very long. It is kind of a carpet type material, so it will get damp and it will hold water for a little while until it drains out. If you do not have an aluminum bed and you're dealing with a steel bed and you already have rust on your bed, this could certainly hold a bit of water above that, so you do want to be cautious of that. But for this practical application, I think it works really well. I think it looks really nice, and it's definitely going to be functional, and it's something I can just rip out whenever I'm done and turn it into a nice floor mat out here so I have something to lay on whenever I'm working on the tractor or working on the mowers. But yeah, please leave a comment below. I'd love to know what your thoughts are. Okay, so one quick thing before we wrap up this video. As we walk around the bed cover in the toolbox, I want to see if you can notice something that I've done just to improve how well this seals against water and rain getting into the bed of the truck. Now, you may or may not notice it, but it's likely you will if you look close enough. But I use a really cool black adhesion tape here. This is similar to the type of stuff you might put on the roof of an RV. It is a very kind of gummy tape on the other side with a nice black finish on this side. It holds up exceptionally well. I use it for all sorts of different things, and it adheres extremely well. It's waterproof, and it creates a really good watertight seal in all these areas. Yes, you see a little bit of the adhesion material underneath it, but for me, that's perfectly fine if it means that the bed of my truck is going to have a little bit more capability of kind of protecting it from water getting in. I even put some along the edge here of the back because that's also where water can get in around the toolbox. I don't ever feel as if this is ever going to be like 100% waterproof. So that's not what I'm really gunning for, because I don't think that's a realistic goal or expectation. But I do feel as if I can improve the odds of not having water come in here as much. You know, water getting underneath this section right here is going to happen. Water getting somehow between the rails, even though there's a big rubber gasket there, is probably going to happen. Water's certainly going to get in back here at some point, even through here. And the process of applying this material is just to make it a little bit less likely that a large amount of water will get in, and most of it will funnel off and roll down the side of the truck. But this is an absolutely fantastic material. I use it for all sorts of different things, not just the bed of the truck. On the 2017, I actually had a clear version of this that I really wish I would have gone with the black version. But this stuff works exceptionally well. I'll throw a link in the video. I bought it off of Amazon. I have a huge roll of it. And again, this is one of those things that when you're looking for a sealant tape that has a great adhesion, looks nice, has a nice flat black appearance to it, and can seal up around things like this very, very well, this is a great product to look at. Just keep in mind, it can get a little messy when you're trying to remove it, especially if you live in an area with a lot of heat, where this is just going to be inundated with hot sunlight hitting it, probably making a much, much stronger bond, thus for making it difficult to remove and possibly leaving a residue when you're done. That said though, I like it. I don't plan on removing it anytime soon, and it looks really good and it does the job, and that's really what I'm looking for. Anyways, again, I'll throw a link in the description if that's something you may be interested. Anyways, guys, I sure hope you enjoyed the video. If you haven't had a chance, please take a moment, subscribe to the channel, give me a thumbs up, and we'll talk to you again very soon.